So welcome, this is Ad Emmen reporting for Primeur Magazine, live from the Cloudscape 16 workshop at the Microsoft premises in Brussels. And we're talking here
with Elena Bonfiglioli. I am Managing Director for Health Industry in Europe, Middle East and Africa, part of the public sector, Microsoft.
And it also happens to be Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. Yeah. Well, one could say, is cloud beyond gender? Absolutely, cloud is a great equalizer in society and across genders. We need to make sure that the participation of women in the technology sector, in the IT, in the STEM studies, gets to its full potential. Microsoft is very committed as part of our diversity and inclusion programs and strategies to make sure that there is a wide participation of young girls into STEM studies, and that will make the future of cloud also as a pink cloud.
So this morning we had a panel session here at the conference, and you were one of the keynote speakers, and you touched on several new things that happened in cloud computing during the past year from the Microsoft perspective. Could you please tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Maybe let me try to recap those. I think some of the key points that we touched on is, first of all, some of our recent announcements with new data center opening in the UK and in Germany, and I know you're interested in that. So I'll talk about that under the framework of the fact that local cloud supports global empowerment. Then we talk also about cloud as an enabler for big societal challenges and opportunities with several examples, and I'll share some of those in healthcare. And then we talked about trust and certifications, standardization, and all the requirements from country level or specific industries. So we will discuss about how people really embrace technologies that they trust, technologies that they feel respect privacy, security, with the right level of compliance and transparency. So we have made new announcements for expanding, first of all, the existing data centers, both in Amsterdam and in Dublin. And we have also made an announcement for new data centers. And I know you're particularly interested in the German announcement because It's actually a new model of cloud delivery. In this case, T-System, a subsidiary of Deutsche Telekom, is actually the custodian of the data, and the data is being processed and it remains under German law. So this is a way in which we can, on the one side, guarantee the requirements for privacy and data residency of our customers. On the other side, secure the key requirements for cloud, which needs to be really in hyperscale. It needs to be a cloud that is open, with choice, and the opportunity to move to the cloud, to public cloud, when you want, as a customer, that the part of the data that you want to move and when you want to move it. This is for us a paramount criteria. Cloud on your terms. It needs to be trusted, and it needs to be at the speed that your business requires. All of that, of course, is possible, not all in Germany, but in all our data center offering. When you look at the quality of openness, which is something that you mentioned with great interest, I mentioned the collaboration that we do with open source. We are one of the biggest investors actually in Hadoop. We have a big partnership and collaboration going on with the open source community, both at the level of infrastructure, at the level of databases, of applications, and of management. And actually yesterday, when we made the announcement of the new release of our SQL Server 2016, actually that will run also on top of Ubuntu. So it is, you will no longer see a division. You will see our vision of cloud as an open cloud with open standards. And we need to be sure that developers from no matter which platform of choice, they will be able to do the best mobile first and cloud first solutions.
You could say that the Azure cloud is a kind of glue that glues everything together so that you can really have this openness and collaboration between different kinds of
Absolutely.
applications.
It's actually very well said. I do think that the Azure is really that glue that brings it all together in an extensible, open, interoperable and scalable way, which is what the customers really require today. There is no other way for cloud.
Mm-hmm. So, and the openness, so that does that mean that, for instance, you can run Ubuntu on the Microsoft
Absolutely.
Azure cloud?
It's business as a service.
Yeah.
Correct. You can run Ubuntu, you have Hadoop, and basically you can really, we have also been investing in creating bridges, so you have open source applications that work very well with the public cloud. You can do what you want in whatever platform, in the same way in which, for example, when you look at the way in which an iPad runs Office 365, right? Before, you would have never seen these two companies collaborating this way. Now we want our productivity and mobility collaboration applications to be able to empower every single person, every single machine, every single organization, independently from the form factor or the platform of choice. So you will see actually Office 365 running beautifully on iPad.
Okay, that's interesting. The your specific topic is healthcare.
Yes.
So what do we see in healthcare recently?
So actually, in healthcare, we see a huge transformation and a transition where care is actually moving beyond the walls of the hospital. What does that mean? That care becomes much more mobile as an experience. It needs continuous follow-up and interaction that cannot be done on-prem. That needs to be done 24/7 on the go from many different organizations that need to talk to each other, right? Because the patient is no longer within that hospital, is going to visit many different organizations, and the data need to be available to those organizations. So we see care and cure becoming more mobile, more collaborative, more predictive, and more preventive. What does that mean? It means that we need to have the right data accessible to the right user on the right device in a secure way at the right moment. So it's only the power of cloud can do that. It also means that if we want to become more preventive, we need to use machine learning to understand where certain parameters or vital signs are going out of norm. The machine will learn from the data that we provide, and therefore send alert systems so that we can do remote monitoring and patients don't have to be in the hospital. We can also see the use of machine learning for early diagnosis. It could be early diagnosis of dyslexia, so that learning patterns of children can be corrected much faster. It could be diagnosis of rare diseases, so that people don't have to go through the painful experience for months and months of doing all sorts of diagnoses that actually cost a lot of money to the system, but it can be solved in a matter of days or weeks. If I take an example from Helsinki, actually with the high-performance computing and cloud capabilities, working with partner Tequila at the University Hospital of Helsinki, the likelihood of a tumor to become a metastasis, when you look at prevention for breast cancer, has been brought down from more than 15 months to a couple of days. That is real cloud enabling transformation and societal impact. There are many other examples like that. We could go at systems efficiency, machine learning, looking at patterns of upcoding from hospitals to payers and really correcting certain behaviors within the system. You could look at machine learning for genomics and looking at the opportunity for precision medicine. We made a big announcement in the US 2 weeks ago supporting a precision medicine initiative of President Obama. You could look at the recent announcement that we made of $1 billion of Azure computing capabilities to be donated to NGOs and research universities and research institutes to go after the big challenges that society needs. Healthcare is one, education is definitely another one, but intelligence-led defense, first responders. Can we really predict things, bad things particularly, before they happen? Is it in a human body or in society as a system?
Of course, all this technology is very advanced and can be very useful. But a lot of people, and especially here in Europe, are asking, yeah, but can I really trust it? I mean, I don't want to use it because I don't know whether I can trust it. So.
Absolutely, you're very right. People, organizations will use only the technologies that they can trust. And often we see in healthcare, but in public sector overall, I would say that there is sometimes a myth that needs to be spelled out, which is the difference between what the law requirements are, the regulatory requirements at industry or at country level, and what the perceptions are. So we need to spell that myth, we need to make clear what is possible, and many times, oftentimes we have seen that a lot is possible, just people don't know. So we need to invest in clarifying the regulatory requirements. That's number one, clarification and awareness. Number two, however, is to be sure that we fast forward from a regulatory standpoint, from a cloud standard standpoint. Microsoft was a very strong and early supporter of 27018, particularly because this is a standard born in the cloud. These are requirements for the world of today and tomorrow. We cannot make progress and advance in technology with regulatory requirements done maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So we need to narrow that gap and make sure that the requirements for privacy, security, compliance, and transparency, which are of paramount importance, are maintained, but with the view of making progress and the needs and the opportunities of tomorrow. Today and tomorrow need to come closer for trust.
What do you see about the future of the cloud?
Cloud has a bright future. If we manage to fulfill three conditions, it's a cloud that we can trust, it's a cloud that empowers, and it empowers for global challenges and opportunities, creating digital dividends, and it's a cloud that provides choice. It's an open cloud. It's an open cloud even at local level for global opportunity. With these three things, trust, openness, and empowerment, there is a bright future for cloud computing.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For Primeur Magazine, this was Ad Emmen Report.